This is a Conservative Czar, October 22nd, 2012. There's an old adage that all it takes for the world to crumble is for good men to be silent. And I think that describes what's happening in the world and in the United States today. Although the probability, what I really think is we're not talking about good men being silent. We're talking about culpable men. And maybe it's, I need another word, strong, a little less strong, but evil men. Men that are going to have, men and women, are going to have a lot to say to their maker when they meet him eventually. Because they have been silent on critical issues facing the world and the United States. And I have to say this, I am an Orthodox Catholic. I believe in the things of the Catholic Church. I believe the Catholic Church speaks the truth about issues, about things. That doesn't mean, though, that we are living in a society where the Catholic Church has lived up to its obligations, where the hierarchy has lived up to its obligations. And I'm going to say some harsh things here today, very, very harsh. But I lay the blame for a lot of what's happened in the United States today on priests, bishops, cardinals, and indeed the last two popes. I lay the blame on them because during their time is when this whole idea has come to fruition that we should really not talk about certain issues. Don't bring them up. And a perfect example of this evil that's permeating the world, it was in the second debate when Joe Biden says these things. He says, I am a Catholic, I believe what the Catholic Church says, and I believe that life begins at conception. But I am not going to protect that life in any way. I'm not going to protect that life in the first trimester, the second trimester, or the third trimester. I'm not going to affect that life. I'm not going to protect that life at all. Take him at his word. He believes it's a human being. He believes that. And yet he's not going to do one single thing in the law to protect a human being. For liberals, and I don't mind the position at all. I mean, I disagree with it, but I don't mind. I can understand the position. Well, it's not a human life. It's not a human life. It's not a human life until it's born. It's a ridiculous, intellectually it doesn't make sense. But I understand that. What I can't understand is the idea, and liberals, all conservatives, liberals, Democrats, atheists, all of us should be concerned about this viewpoint. That he believes it's a human life. He believes it's a human life. And yet he will do nothing in the law to protect it. That is evil. That is evil incarnate. And that's the position of a lot of, I'll buy the fact that they're out and out liars. I'll buy that. They really don't believe in the Catholic Church. They don't believe in the things the Catholic Church says. Because if they did, they could not reach the conclusion that they reached. It's impossible. If you're a Catholic and you believe it is human, as the Church says, that life, human life, begins at conception, then you must push the law to protect human beings from being cut up, from being poisoned, from being murdered in the womb. If it's not a human life, what I just said doesn't make any difference. If it's not a human life, it's just a bunch of tissues and cells, that's fine. But the problem with Biden is he said he believed it was a human life. Can't everyone understand how evil this is? How horrible this is? And as I said before, I think Democrats who think about it for a second, what are you talking about? If you believe in abortion, you can't be a Catholic. Get out of the Catholic Church. Don't say you believe it's human life. My God, if you say it's human life, you are truly evil. And I believe, if I believe he's a liar, so I think that he probably isn't as evil as I think he is. He's just an out-and-out liar. But if he does in fact believe the things he said, he's an evil person. The problem is not so much evil people like Joe Biden. The problem is in the face of this evil. The Pope is silent, the cardinals are silent, the bishops are silent, the priests are silent. Now I know there's some that speak. Tepidly, they speak. Over 10 million abortions in the world today. What other issue is there that comes close to this in importance? So spending an hour a week on the subject, spending one, and I'm talking about the good guys. The bad guys, which are the majority of the priests, the majority of the bishops, the majority of the cardinals, the silence from the priests, the hierarchy of the church is deafening. I know exactly what ordinary Catholics believe. Well, wait a minute. They're not stupid. The ordinary Catholic says to himself, we got over 1 million abortions a year. They're not talking about it. If they really believe this stuff, they'd be talking about it every minute. It would be the biggest issue that they would ever talk about. But they don't talk about it. So it can't be important. And come to think of it, maybe that's what Joe Biden did. Maybe Joe Biden says, hey, if you guys think really think it's a human life, you'd be talking about it. The priests aren't talking about it. They can't believe it. Why do I have to believe it? Why do I have to stick my neck out for the unborn? The most culpable group, it's not the abortionists, it's not the liberals, it's not the Planned Parenthood, it's not Joe Biden. It is the silent priests, the silent bishops, the silent cardinals, and the ineffective popes. This is a terrible, terrible state of affairs. When evil men like Joe Biden can get away with what he said, no Democrat is raising objection, no Republicans are raising objection, no liberals are raising objection, no conservatives are raising objection, and I don't believe there was a single priest that said a thing. This is the conservative czar. See you next time.